Hello, I'm Locke Meredith. I'd like to invite you to join me on the next Legal Lines, where my guest is Col Jeff Mitchell. He's in charge of the entire Chaplain Corps for the Louisiana National Guard. He's been in the Guard for 23 years. He's talking about his duties that he's had both in state and when he was on his deployments, both in Afghanistan and Iraq. He's going to talk about how fulfilling it's been for him in terms of relationships and responsibilities and duties. He needs more chaplains. I also want to thank Jeff and his family, the Colonel, on behalf of all of this for their dedication to our country, our families, our friends and loved ones. So join us on the next Legal Lines with Col Jeff Mitchell. Legal Lines has interviewed Louisiana Supreme Court justices, appellate trial court judges, federal, state, and local government leaders, including U.S. senators and Congress members. Watch at Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates website, LockeMeredith.com, or Cox Channel 1004.
At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, it's an honor and a privilege if you choose us to serve you.
We serve you with respect, dedication, and an unwavering commitment.
We serve you by working hard and striving to get you the best possible results.
We serve you using 60+ years of legal knowledge, experience, and relationships.
At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, we believe that life is about relationships, and it's the mission and ministry of all of us to serve you. Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates has served our community by airing Legal Lines, a community educational program for 18 years weekly to Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas. Watch Legal Lines at LockeMeredith.com or Cox Channel 1004. Hello, I'm Locke Meredith. I'm very pleased to have back on the show Col Jeff Mitchell. He is a colonel in the Louisiana National Guard and is in charge of every chaplain in the Louisiana Guard in our state. Jeffrey, wonderful to have you back.
It's great, thank you.
Appreciate it, and I always like to get updated, and in a way I'm sad to have this show because as I understand it, you retire in 2020, right?
I do.
And is that at age 65 or?
Correct.
How are we this old? Anyway, so, you know, you've got to be a little bit nostalgic now. I know you got another, several months. But you got to have mixed feelings and kind of explain to folks, number one, how you feel about having done it. It'll be 25 years, 20 years?
About 23.
23 years, okay. Yeah. Explain to folks how you feel about it in hindsight, now being 2020, and kind of probably take us through the process.
I think probably one word you could capstone the whole thing is just relationships. I mean, the relationships, the camaraderie that I've had through 23 years is tremendous. It'll be time to hand the baton over to another great chaplain to take up the reins, but I'm going to miss, the camaraderie, just the relationships.
You sure Edie's going to be glad you're back? I'm teasing. Well, tell the folks how this all started, because you've, like you said, been in 23 years, and you've been to 2 wars. You were deployed 2 times in Afghanistan and Iraq. Take people to the very beginning. How did you ever become a chaplain? Because you've been a pastor for 12 years at chapel on the campus and elsewhere.
Correct. I had 23 great years at the chapel as a pastor, and probably 10 years into that, I had a across the street neighbor that was an active guard person, and he just walked across the street. He knew I was a pastor and saw me running. I like to still run and stay in shape. So he said, "Hey, we have an opening in Plaquemine as a chaplain for a weekend warrior." And he said, "Would you be interested?" So first thing it is, I called my brother. My dad was in World War II. My brother was an Apache pilot for 33 years.
Good gosh, I'd forgotten that.
And so...
in your blood.
Yeah, it was there, but I was 42, kind of late in the deal, but as I looked into it, all the pieces fit right in. And, for me, as a pastor for 10 or 12 years, you can kind of work yourself almost into, I would say, a bubble or a place, and I was kind of envious of guys like you that are out in the marketplace.
It isn't that fun all the time.
I guess people envied me for what I did, and then I envied people
Absolutely.
being out.
Yeah.
So, automatically becoming a battalion chaplain, I was a chaplain for 500 soldiers.
The very first job you had
Was-
in your position was a chaplain for 500 men.
As a battalion
women.
chaplain. So it just opened up a whole nother realm of service, sacrifice, relationships, and just re-energized me as a pastor.
Fascinating. Well, so, for those folks, and there seems to always be a need for chaplains, right?
Correct.
I know we've done this 3 or 4 times over the years, and you've always indicated there's never enough chaplains. And I guess I can understand why, with the demands that it puts on the soldiers and their families and everything.
Well,
else.
we're part of 3, which is called the specialty forces. It's not, everybody's special, but the specialty forces are medical, JAG, and chaplain because we're never at full strength.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
And so I assume, that's still the position. So tell me kind of first of all, what you have to do. You've kind of said why you would do it, why you're glad you did it, why you wish you didn't have to leave. So tell folks, if they have that draw or that calling, so to speak, what they would have to do.
Well,
Like, what are the qualifications?
Yeah, well, one of the things, you just drill once a month, Saturday and Sunday. Pastors have the flexibility to do it on Friday and Saturday. But when I was at the chapel, I'd do Saturday and then go in early to my unit, go to the chapel, do my pastoral duties, and go back out on Saturday afternoon. So it's 1 weekend a month and 2 weeks in the summer where you're doing annual training. But, there is, on the front end, just to get you schooled up to chaplaincy, to the Army, there's a basic chaplain course.
As in teaching the kind of the logistics of being a chaplain?
Well, the logistics.
Or are they making you run?
Oh yeah, it's PT.
So it's like PT so basic
every
training
morning,
kind of for chaplains, huh?
Yeah, ODARC 30 or whatever. So.
Okay.
But to qualify to be a chaplain, there is a prerequisite to have a Master of Divinity.
Okay.
So they want that kind of schooling there, but technically you're supposed to be 40 or below. If you have prior service, you can get in up to 46, but I got in at 42, and I've just put a couple of guys in at 42 because they had the pastoral experience. They were in good shape. They didn't have really any medical issues.
It's interesting too. So do you find that most folks who become chaplains in your tenure there are folks who started when they were young, or mainly when they kind of lived some life and they had kind of a different or a new aspect of a calling on them?
I think they have ministry experience, or they've been in the Guard and they've seen the chaplaincy, and that's something they really want to do. But I think, like myself, a lot of folks are saying, hey, I would love to serve the country. I would like to be a soldier. I would like to do something extra and above duty, just like probably anybody else that gets into the Guard. They want to serve their country and step up and sacrificially serve.
All right, so the qualifications, you said they need to be under 40, they need to have a Master's of Divinity, and I assume any faith is accepted?
Yeah,
into the chaplain
correct.
Corps?
Yes, correct. So we need folks from all kind of faith. We have 2 words that are very important in the chaplain corps. It's called perform and provide. So we have ecclesiastical endorsers that endorse us to the Army, and we stay within that conviction, so we get to perform in that lane of whatever faith we're in. But also, if folks need something outside what I can perform, I'm committed to provide and search out and get their religious need met. So that's how we work.
Okay, and like I noticed, you have the cross on your uniform. Does each chaplain of a different faith have have their own little
Yeah,
emblems.
they have their own crest.
And so it's pretty clear, I guess there's other designations, whether it's attire or otherwise, that this person's a chaplain?
Correct.
All right, and I guess the chaplains, because is each person's first assignment 500 folks?
Well, the entry point, and you get first commissioned as either a first lieutenant or a captain in a battalion, and each battalion's about 400 to 500 people that's broken up into 4
All right,
units.
well, we'll continue this on the next segment. It's Locke Meredith on Legal Lines with my guest, Jeff Mitchell. He is a colonel with the Louisiana National Guard, Chaplain Corps, head of it. We'll see you on the next segment.
Hello, my name is Col Meredith. I'm one of the attorneys here at Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates. One of the many distinguishing factors of our firm is that we are not just one lawyer that you are hiring. We're a team of attorneys. When you hire one of us, we all pull from each other's experiences, knowledge of the law, so that we get you not only a solution to your problems, but the best solution that we can come up with for your problems. So for that reason and many others, I hope that you hire our firm.
Hi, my name is Mitchell Meredith. I'm one of the associate attorneys here at Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates. One of the reasons I love this firm is that the moment you walk through the doors, you're so much more than business. You're family, which means we're going to fight for you as if you're family. At the end of the day, I think what distinguishes our firm from others is we're a firm that is truly personal, professional, and proven.
Welcome back to Legal Lines. I've got a really great guest. His name is Jeffrey Mitchell. He's a colonel in the Louisiana National Guard. He is in charge of every chaplain in the Louisiana National Guard. He's the head of the Chaplain Corps. Let's dive back in. So you were talking about, anybody who meets the qualifications, regardless of their faith, can join the Chaplain Corps. And you kind of go through this basic training, both physical and maybe confirm that you're a right mix and all that. And then they hire you, I guess. You sign a contract, right? And they hire you, and normally you're brought in as a sergeant.
Oh, a first lieutenant or captain.
First lieutenant or captain, okay. And you're going to be assigned to about 500 men and women.
Correct.
All right. And what do you do when you're not deployed with those folks? How do you serve? You mentioned, what is it, once a month you're going
Correct.
for 2 days for I guess, staying in shape. What are you doing the rest of the time?
Well, on a basic drill weekend, you have 4 units that are in different areas where there are about 100 soldiers. So you're just coordinating with the leadership of where the soldiers are. And a lot of the first year or two, you're just building relationships. It's called ministry of presence. But as you build those relationships over those drills and that annual training,
sense.
when you're out in the field with them, that's when really you build that trust. And you do services. They're not a real long service. It could be anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes. But you get to, it's going to open up doors for, sharing the Word of God with them, counseling them, doing weddings, funerals, just serving their needs, and when there's crisis counseling that comes up. So it's a great opportunity just to get out and serve soldiers and pastor them.
Jeff, do you have folks coming to you that have been deployed and they're coming in and they come in every month of every year, or is there different kind of periods of time when they come in and you don't have some for a while, and so you're limited to the guys that you're seeing on the weekends and annually?
No, you see them every drill. So
New people coming in?
Oh yeah, there's new people coming in, and folks either re-enlist or at some point get out. But it's a pretty consistent.
Okay.
Relationship.
And so, part of we've talked about this before to some degree, much more degree, but you're trying to prepare folks as a chaplain with pre-deployment kind of mindset and how to deal with the stresses and strains, which are horrible with, the once a month and what is it, 1 week a year on the annual training?
2 weeks.
2 weeks a year, okay. And then you provide services that prepare them for deployment. Then you got to deal with the folks while their loved one's overseas. You got to take care of them when they're over there or deployed, and then when they come back. Is that what you're doing during these periods of time?
Well, that is a part of my job. You know, I'm kind of the pastor to the senior staff. I do manage 18 chaplains, but you know, the Army has done such a good job with family programs.
Right.
They are taking care of the families. We have a reintegration office that is helping during, and post-deployment. We have yellow ribbon ceremonies. So, you know, a lot of that is mainly for the family members, getting their mindset and getting them aware of all the resources that the Army has available to them, specifically when their soldiers deployed. So it is just a wonderful support system, and a chaplain's right in the mix of that, helping with resiliency, suicide prevention, strong bonds relationships, resiliency, helping them.
When they go, when they're preparing to go, while they're gone, and when they get back.
That's correct.
Yeah, it makes sense. You know, you mentioned that you come in with a pretty decent rank. So what are the earnings and the benefits that come to a person who decides to be a chaplain? You
know, first thing just really surprised me is the honor that's given to the chaplaincy. I mean, we're on the commander's special staff. It's the sergeant major and the chaplain on their staff. So it's a very honored, because we advise the commander on religious affairs, morale, all those things. So that was really a great benefit and surprise. But, you know, I would say through the years...
That's really good to hear. The government recognizes and the military recognizes your value. Correct. And respects it.
Yeah. You know, and just the training, probably the biggest piece is what's called CHBOLC, the Chaplain Officer Basic Leadership Course, which is you have about 3 years once you're in to do that 13-week training. But that just prepares you so well for not only the Army, how to be a soldier, but how to be a good pastor within the military ranks. And I think I mentioned to you, you know, it's just amazing. The seminaries are seeing the value in how professional our chaplain schooling is, that when you finish your captain career course, there is a lot of seminaries that are actually giving you credit for third of your doctorate of ministry degree.
Interesting.
So if a person wants to go on and get another doctorate in ministry,
they're 1/3 of the way there.
They were 1/3 of the way there, because the seminaries are recognized. Boy, the officer training is that, and probably one of the biggest benefits, I'll say, all the chaplain training I got with the Army has made me a better pastor. It was kind of like it just kept my pencil sharp, not only mentally, spiritually, but physically. You know, and a lot of guys are maybe watching this and saying, hey, I need that incentive to stay in shape, keep my weight down. So a part of that is you have an incentive to take care of yourself.
All right, so economic benefits, what are they making when they come in? You know, the typical salary that they're making, and are there educational benefits? You mentioned that. I don't know if there's any others. I assume there's some health insurance and life insurance and maybe other stuff. I don't know. What kind of give me the economic rewards?
You come in, when you come in as a lieutenant or captain, I mean, as an officer is good money, especially when you go away and you're on active duty as far as the schooling. But from a lieutenant to captain to major, lieutenant colonel to colonel, the pay scale goes
Just commensurate.
up. Yeah, it goes up. And, also just the insurance, I mean...
Well, yeah, health insurance is astronomical these days.
Yeah, TRICARE, which is offered to the soldier. My church said, we will gladly pay the TRICARE premium versus...
The one we've been paying for you as an employee,
and we can talk a little bit of the benefits now I'm facing, medically.
All right. So. We'll continue this on the next segment. This is Locke Meredith with Legal Lines. my guest, Jeff Mitchell. He is a colonel in the Louisiana National Guard, head of the Chaplain Corps. We'll be right back. Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates has served our community by airing Legal Lines, a community educational program for 18 years weekly to Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas. Watch Legal Lines at LockeMeredith.com or Cox Channel 1004.
Hello, my name is Sean Fagan. And you know, one of the most important considerations in hiring an attorney is considering trust. I believe at our firm, our results speak for themselves. Most of the people we represent come from past clients who have referred friends, family members, other people they love to us to represent them in the same way we represented the persons who referred them. It's the greatest compliment any law firm could get. And I believe that if you come to our firm, we'll earn your trust.
Welcome back to Legal Lines. I'm Locke Meredith. I'm pleased to have Jeff Mitchell. He is a colonel in the Louisiana National Guard, has been so for 23 years, and he's in charge of the entire chaplain service. Let's dive back into the benefits for someone who's considering doing this. The economic benefit. You talked about the relational and spiritual components, which are frankly more valuable than anything. But some folks obviously are going to care about the economic benefits. I assume all the information, you know, the pay and the ranking and time and all that kind of stuff is at a website for the Louisiana National Guard.
Or you could just Google pay scale for the
like
Army.
anything else,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
So, yeah.
And then fringe benefits, health insurance, life. You said health insurance you get to keep for your life.
Yeah, well, you know, you try to talk to folks getting in about the back end, and you know, when you're younger, you don't think about it.
You don't think like that.
But I wasn't active duty, but still, the retirement pay as a full bird colonel is going to be good. I'll be kicking that right in when I retire. But you know, TRICARE for life, I will get that. And I was talking to you about the premium for my wife and I for $837 a year, not a month.
I heard you.
We will be fully covered. So there's some very good
and
benefits.
other VA benefits are available.
Yeah, I have benefits for the VA. So as far as health care, you know,
So a lot of fringe benefits in addition, which are
Correct.
economically valuable in addition to what you actually take home.
Correct.
All right, let's shift gears a little bit. We've kind of talked about the relational and faith motivations and drives and callings. There's also those guys, like you said, who've been sitting around getting a little chubby around the old waistline and say, I got to do something. And there's also the challenge of life and wanting to challenge yourself mentally and physically, emotionally, and spiritually, relationally. You deployed twice. And explain to me, is that's something that any chaplain who joins has the possibility of being deployed, right?
Well, I'm open with the families. I meet with the wife when I'm looking at a chaplain, and I say, look, in your career, it is a probability the way the world is these days, you're going to deploy it sometime. But you know, those were challenging times for my family. But being a part of a great church family and relationships like yourself, just people we had, you know, it was a family call, and we understood that. And I tell you what was wonderful, though, people, when they see myself and our family stepping up to sacrifice in wartime, there's something in the spirit of just about every American. They want to sacrificially serve
Yes.
too. So they would gather around, and things would happen at the house, and you know, I had a list of everything I could think of, and all Edie had to do was, there was a name and a telephone number, and when she made the call, people just flooded in to help. So the church body, it just, you know, and that's another thing I would think probably as we loop back to the benefit, is it just opened up another ministry arm for our church. Where a church
big arm too.
Yeah, into the military. So the congregation, our families, it was a call. So people just step up in those times.
Jeff, it's making me want to ask the question of you right now. Our soldiers that are overseas now, what can we do as the public for them? Frankly, I know that there was a request for cigars, and I typically take care of that. Yeah. And so tell folks what they can do if they want to, help our soldiers who are defending our country, protecting our borders.
I think we downplay when we say, oh, well, if I can't do anything else, I'll just pray. But really praying for our soldiers, finding out what a soldier really wants when he gets over there, which is going to kind of ring his bell, and when he gets that mail. I tell you, it's something as simple as writing a handwritten letter, and when mail call takes place and you hear your name call and you have something tangible in your hand to open, it is the small special things, but getting a care package where you really get, wow, what one of mine was beef jerky and fat-free Fig Newtons. So, I got those. And of course, we were over in Iraq, the guys would like to go up on top of the building after the day and smoke a cigar. And I said, hey, do you mind smoking cigars? And you helped us out. So it's the small, specific things that are helpful to the church, to the soldier, but really prayer, encouragement, just letters, and just.
So they could contact the Louisiana National Guard and just say, "Hey, I want to help somebody."
Well, usually through their unit or through their churches, or even the family programs office. Okay. Just finding out, what people need. So.
All right. Well, you kind of mentioned it. When you're overseas, it's a challenging time for the soldier and the family. And so, tell the folks kind of, because, you had mortars fall around y'all and you had to give services. I think you'd mentioned to me on occasion that where somebody died. Yeah. And I can't imagine there's a more poignant thing that you can do. So kind of explain that whole aspect of giving and serving that somebody who's motivated will experience.
Well, we want to take care of the soldiers. We want to, nurture the living, as we say, but honor the dead. So, that's a wonderful thing that chaplaincy and the Chaplain Corps and the Chaplain School sets us up to minister to the families, but minister to aftercare, which, and every time there's a death, there's a memorial ceremony that takes place in country. But the Chaplain Corps is a very strategic piece of taking a body and honoring the soldier from getting them into the plane to back home to all of that.
You're very respectful.
Yes. Very.
I'm glad to hear it. I'm not surprised. So kind of describe quickly, because we're running out of time, what you did that served your fellow soldiers. Yeah, I think you mentioned that you'd have personal one-on-ones and then you'd have group get-togethers and such.
Well, it's just across the board of it's built on relationships and friendships, and once that's established, people just start calling you for your marriages, for taking care of crisis moments, for doing weddings, and it just opens up a whole nother. And I guess after I retire, I'm gonna still get the calls. Hey, Chaplain, can you come and do this for us? Do a ceremony,
did your job
parades,
well.
Veterans Day, doing weddings. So that will continue on, mainly because of the great relationships and the camaraderie.
And I know that the military has established a lot of programs. We were talking and you mentioned it, suicide, 22 a day is horrible, but there are, if you ask for help and you seek it, you will get it with the military.
Yes, and we've learned, and we were using some of the best training, which is called ASSIST, which is Applied Suicide Intervention Skills Training, and the whole resiliency thing from the University of Pennsylvania.
Fantastic. So, I'm glad to hear it, Jeff. Wonderful having you back. This is Locke Meredith with Legal Lines and Colonel Jeff Mitchell with the Louisiana National Guard, the head of the entire Chaplain Corps for Louisiana. See you next time.
At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan & Associates, it's an honor and a privilege if you choose us to serve you.
We serve you with respect, dedication, and an unwavering commitment.
We serve you by working hard and striving to get you the best possible results.
We serve you using 60+ years of legal knowledge, experience, and relationships.
At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan Associates, we believe that life is about relationships, and it's the mission and ministry of all of us to serve you.